What is the optimal position for a tank cleaning head? This is a common question that we get asked at the spray nozzle people when looking at tank cleaning applications. This video is one in a series of videos answering common questions about tank cleaning. So what's the optimal position for a tank cleaning head? This common question has a surprisingly simple answer, but as we'll see, there's some complexities. As a general rule of thumb, we want to position all tank cleaners on the center line of the tank. Now I'm assuming in this part of the discussion we're talking about common cylindrical tanks. Okay, but so on a common cylindrical tank, you want to position the tank cleaner on the center line towards the top, about 1/3 of the way down the tank from the top of the tank. Okay, and this general rule applies for all styles of tank cleaners, and it will generally give the best results. The reason for this is gravity is our friend in tank cleaning, so the lower parts of the tank will naturally receive all of the washdown water that is used in the cleaning operations for the higher part of the tank. Okay, so 1/3 of the way down on the center line. But there are some complications. First thing we need to consider is product line. So if the product line is normally above two-thirds of the way up the tank, then it's often advisable to raise the tank cleaner above this line. It may be suboptimal for cleaning, but having the tank cleaning head covered with the product in normal operation can cause more problems. And this depends very much on the product, and in many cases it's actually fine to have the tank cleaning head submerged, but we need to consider that. Okay. The next thing to think about is internal obstructions. Central agitators or other tank internals may mean it's actually impossible to have the tank cleaning head on the center line. Furthermore, these obstructions will cause shadowing and block the path of the tank cleaning fluid, meaning some parts of the tank wall are not clean. Now in this situation we need to position the tank cleaner away from the center line because it's not possible to put it on the center line. Now if we are only using one tank cleaner and we're not too worried about shadowing, then getting it as close to the center line as possible is a good idea. So getting as close to that optimal position as possible. Now if we're going to be using two tank cleaners to overcome the shadowing effects from internals or the central agitators, then having them equidistant from the center is best practice. Effectively, where you want to consider this is to divide the tank into two half cylinders, two virtual tanks if you like, and then have each tank cleaning head positioned optimally for that half cylinder, i.e. the center line of that half cylinder. And each tank cleaning head is now responsible for cleaning half the tank. Now obviously there will be large parts of the tank cleaning from each virtual tank that will spill over into the other tank, and that's kind of bonus cleaning. But if we design the system so that each half tank can be cleaned by a single tank cleaner, and that's positioned optimally, then that's going to be best practice. Okay, so what about odd shaped and large tanks? Okay, things get a little bit more complicated here when moving away from the standard cylindrical shaped tanks. So some general rules of thumb. For any shaped tank, 1/3 of the way down the tank is still a pretty good general rule from the top. And the basic principle we want to have is to have as much of the tank as equidistant from the actual tank cleaning head as possible. Okay, now this is often not possible in odd shaped tanks. So for example, long tanks or cylindrical tanks on their side, this means in order to get equal coverage and equal cleaning, we may want to have a couple of tank cleaners in there, okay, at each end of the cylinder. Okay. When looking at the maximum cleaning distances of any tank cleaner, we need to consider the worst case scenario, i.e. what's the furthest point that needs to be cleaned by the tank cleaner. Now for spinners and spray balls, this distance should be the maximum horizontal distance from the cleaning head to the wall. This should be kept below the scrubbing distance indicated on the datasheet. For rotary jet and high pressure cleaners, the best practice is to measure the distance from the cleaning head to the furthest point that needs to be cleaned. In most tanks this will be the bottom edge of the tank. Now this distance can be calculated using Pythagoras' theorem. The distance should be less than the rated effective cleaning jet on the datasheets. It is sometimes, however, acceptable to use the same basic horizontal distance calculation to the tank wall when sizing and positioning jet cleaners. Typically for lighter residues, this is fine. Now, for odd-shaped tanks that require multiple tank cleaners, it's best to divide the tank into virtual sub-tanks again, and then position a tank cleaning head in each of these virtual sub-tanks using the same rules, as if they were separate tanks and they were only being cleaned by that one tank cleaner. Any of the overspray outside of these virtual tanks into the next adjacent virtual tank is just bonus cleaning. But if you stick to the rule that you're cleaning a virtual tank with one tank cleaner, then you're not going to go far wrong. Okay, so these are the principles that we apply when designing tank cleaning systems with regards to optimal positioning of tank cleaning heads. I hope you find that useful.